March 2017. I want you to try and picture this scene for a moment. You're running a business, it's successful, it's high growth. And then, well, in a single day, you check your bank account and realize you're in a massive financial death spiral.
And we're not just talking about high costs here.
No, not at all. It was a stunning, sudden hit of $150,000 in refunds, all at once, just washing away everything you've built.
And this wasn't even because of poor service or a bad product.
Yeah.
It was triggered by failed partnerships, where the partners, these gym owners, were actively undermining the high-ticket sales that had just been closed for them.
The money was gone. And worse, now there was debt.
That kind of moment, it goes so far beyond just a business hiccup. It's an absolute crisis. I mean, it's an existential threat.
Right.
When you lose that kind of capital, that suddenly, and you have people, friends who quit their jobs to come join your mission, it forces a reckoning. You completely stop asking, how do I grow? And you start asking, how do I survive the next 30 days? And that raw pressure, well, that becomes the crucible for innovation.
Exactly. And that crisis, that feeling of just utter collapse, is precisely what led to the tactics we're about to unpack today in this deep dive. Because when the foundations of what you sell are solid, the offer is incredible, the next most critical problem is that reliable, predictable flow of who you sell it to.
They had to pivot. They had to stop worrying about the offer and start building a lead machine that couldn't be sabotaged.
So our mission today is to extract the core, the high leverage, the $100 million lead tactics that didn't just prevent bankruptcy, but completely transform the entire operation into a juggernaut.
We're really talking about a system that generated tens of millions in profit and culminated in a huge acquisition.
Right.
What was it? A $46.2 million valuation.
It's incredible. So this isn't theory. This is the tactical blueprint for generating leads at a massive scale, for turning complete strangers into predictable, paying customers.
We are uncovering the science behind the absolute best tactics that made a lot of money and made it very, very quickly.
Let's jump in. We'll start with the blueprint itself and this accidental $6,000 discovery that completely changed the trajectory of the business, literally within about 24 hours.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so let's unpack the core philosophy first. When you look at all the complexities of running, a multi-million-dollar business, all of that growth, at the end of the day, it simplifies down to just two variables.
Just two?
You either get more customers, or you make the customers you currently have worth more to you. And today, we are just laser focused on that first point, customer acquisition.
Specifically, how to achieve what the source material calls the 4 key lead metrics, which are more, better, cheaper, and reliable leads.
That framework seems so simple, but it's critical.
It is, because it forces you to analyze your system scientifically, not emotionally. More is just about volume. Better is all about qualification and, your conversion rate. And cheaper directly addresses your cost to acquire a customer, your CAC. And then reliable. Well, reliable is the holy grail.
The holy grail, how so?
It's about making sure that lead flow isn't some spike or a crash, but it's a consistent, predictable river of potential revenue flowing into your business every single day.
So every tactic we're going to discuss today feeds into one of those 4 goals.
Exactly. But achieving that kind of consistency, it started in pure desperation.
It really did. We have to go back to that $150,000 refund crisis. The initial gut response wasn't to try and fix the broken partnership model.
No, it was to abandon it.
Yeah.
Just abandon it entirely and pivot to online fitness, selling directly to the consumer. They just needed cash flow, and they needed it immediately.
They worked tirelessly. The story is kind of legendary, a nonstop 38-hour push to get that new online offer live, running ads, booking calls.
And it worked. To a degree. They quickly hit about $1,000 a day in sales. I mean, it was a functioning business.
But the math was against them.
Totally against them. They needed $150,000 in profit within 30 days just to cover that immediate existential debt. And this new model, it just wasn't going to get them there fast enough.
And this is where the narrative pivots completely. It leads to the first massive insight. The host speaker was obligated to call the gyms they were scheduled to launch with the following month.
Right, to basically cancel on them, to tell them all the sales reps were being moved to this new online fitness model.
The first call was to a struggling, basically broke gym owner in Boise, Idaho.
And this gym owner, I mean, he was on the brink of closure himself. He had refinanced his house. He gets interrupted mid-cancellation. He wasn't interested in the apology.
Not at all.
He was interested in results. He had seen the lead generation system they used work for his buddy's gym, even though the broader launch model was failing the host speaker's company. So he just says, plainly, don't fly out here. Can you just show me what to do? I just need the system to get leads.
You can just imagine the host speaker on the other end of that phone, emotionally drained, feeling the weight of the debt, the betrayal from the other partners. He just wanted the conversation to be over.
So he throws out a number, a massive, totally irrational price, just to scare the guy away.
He just blurts it out. $6,000. That's my price for selling you my secrets.
It was meant to be a hard stop, a conversation ender.
But it wasn't.
Not even close. That gym owner's response was the lightning strike of clarity. He didn't blink, he just immediately agreed. $6K. Okay, done.
And just like that, he had accidentally sold the right to license the proprietary lead generation system, the system he had spent 5 years developing. And he fulfilled the offer with literally zero cost.
He wasn't selling a launch anymore. He was selling the blueprint, the manual.
The revelation was instant. Why try to launch the gyms for him when he would pay a premium just for the system itself? He gets off the phone, immediately calls the other 7 gyms that were slated for launch.
And he learns in real time that the price could bear more.
Yeah, he raised it to $8,000, then $10,000 for the last few. In a single unbelievable day, they collected $60,000.
Just by licensing the system, with zero cost of goods sold.
That licensing model was the absolute rocket fuel they needed. It led to $215,000 in profit within 30 days.
Which completely covered the $150,000 loss and saved the business.
But the greater insight here, the real takeaway, is that it confirmed that the market will pay a massive premium for a proven system that solves their most painful problem.
And for most businesses, that most painful problem is reliably getting leads.
The growth after this pivot is just staggering to look at, because they moved from this clunky service model to a high-margin licensing and coaching model, all based on lead generation.
They went from nearly bankrupt to, what was it, $6.8 million in revenue the first year?
And then the year after that,
Okay.
an astonishing $25.9 million in revenue and $17 million in profit.
It's a huge lesson for any business owner listening to this. You have to ask yourself, what systems have you developed that, if you package them correctly, are actually more valuable than the service you wrap around them?
They were selling the key insight, the advertising machine that could generate, say, $30,000 in cash for a gym owner in the first 30 days.
When you deliver that much upfront value, the referrals and the growth, they just become automatic.
So if the system itself is the gold, how do they make sure a steady stream of people are willing to pay for it? That brings us to their first major tactical engine, the irresistible, highly qualified lead magnet. All right, let's move into that first major tactical engine, the lead magnet. Now, we hear this term everywhere, free ebooks, checklists, you know the drill. But the $100 million definition is different.
Very different.
We're not interested in just collecting an email address. We're talking about generating an engaged lead. So what is the crucial distinction here?
The distinction is depth of commitment. An engaged lead is someone who hasn't just given you their contact info, but has actively consumed your content or your offer to the point where their interest is. Well, that's undeniable.
Okay, so they're not just a name on a list.
Not at all. Their problem is already recognized by them. They have actively raised their hand and identified themselves as being receptive to the core offer that solves the next more complex problem. They're warm before you even speak to them.
And the refinement of this whole lead magnet concept, it actually came from a pretty brutal, expensive failure.
Oh, yeah. The host speaker was advised by this consulting group to follow the standard guru advice on these weekly, really complicated webinars.
He spent $25,000 just to join this group.
And 8 full Sundays creating this massive multi-slide magical presentation. I mean, just imagine the work that went into that.
The results must have been, well, what were the results?
No, devastating. And devastating because they were so counterintuitive. After 3 days and $450 in ad spend, promoting this really comprehensive long-form webinar, they generated 80 leads.
80 leads sounds okay for $450.
It would be, except they achieved 0 sales.
Zero.
And worse, almost no one even bothered to watch the complicated presentation. The complexity was just overwhelming, and the perceived value for the commitment of time, let's say 90 minutes, was clearly way too low.
So that failure forced them to pivot to the exact opposite.
To radical simplicity. He saw an ad for a simple screen-recorded case study just walking through a successful campaign. And he decided to ditch the fancy webinar, and in maybe 13 minutes, he recorded a very simple video.
And the title was key.
The title was everything.
It was.
Free Case Study, How We Added 213 Members and $112,000 in Revenue to a Small Gym in San Diego.
So specific.
So specific. And the immediate outcome was transformative.
They ran ads to this simple, short case study, and the host speaker's executive assistant, Layla, her calendar was booked solid, overnight, with strangers who were ready to talk about implementing the system.
The audience didn't want the complicated, multi-hour presentation.
No, they wanted the rapid demonstration of success. They wanted proof, the fast, big value solution right there on a screen.
That whole anecdote just perfectly illustrates this core concept of the problem-solution cycle when you're designing a lead magnet.
You shouldn't try to solve the whole problem for free. You have to solve a narrow problem completely. And that solution has to logically reveal the next deeper problem that only your high-ticket core offer can solve for money.
Let's use that real estate example from the book to make it really concrete for people.
Okay, sure. The core high-value solution is selling your home for top dollar. That's way too complex for a lead magnet.
Right, you can't give that away in a PDF. Exactly. So instead, you solve the narrow problem. What is my house worth in today's market? That's the valuation calculator or the free report. Once the prospect has that valuation, the next obvious painful problem is revealed. Okay, now that I know it's worth $500,000, how do I actually sell it for that price without all the hassle?
By providing that immediate, relevant value on the narrow problem, you earn the right to charge for the complex, comprehensive core solution.
That's the cycle.
So knowing the case study format works, how do we optimize the execution? Let's dive into the 3 highest leverage steps from their outline for creating a great lead magnet. We'll start with step 6, which sounds risky. It's give away the secrets. Sell the implementation.
It does sound risky.
I mean, if I give away the secret sauce, why would anyone pay me?
This is maybe the biggest mindset shift that separates the $100 million businesses from the ones that are just struggling. If you are afraid of giving away your best content for free, you will inevitably only put out mediocre fluff.
And that fluff hurts you.
It harms your reputation, and it makes your paid offer seem equally weak. The goal is to provide so much specific, undeniable value in the free lead magnet that people experience 2 things. First, they feel almost obligated to pay you. And second, they believe that if the free content is that good, the paid offer must be absolutely life-changing.
So the goal is to provide more perceived value than the cost of the core offer.
Yeah.
Before they even buy.
Before they even talk to you. You want them thinking, wow, if this is what they give away for free, I can't imagine what's behind the paywall.
So it's not about hiding the what, it's about being totally transparent about the how hard it is to actually do. The secret is the recipe, but the implementation is the kitchen, the staff, the ingredients, and the timing.
Precisely. If I give you the recipe for a Michelin-starred dish, you're still not going to cook it like the chef.
Yeah.
You lack the time, the skill, the specialized tools, the experience. That is what you sell. You sell the done-for-you or done-with-you solution.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense. Let's move to step 5. Make it easy to consume. If the lead magnet is too difficult or, time-consuming to get through, you lose the engagement and you lose the sale.
Absolutely. Just think about the modern consumer's attention span and their preferences. This is why having multiple formats is completely non-negotiable.
Right.
The host speaker noted a really surprising fact about his offers book. The distribution split was nearly perfect between physical books, audiobooks, ebooks, and videos.
So it's an even split across all 4 formats.
Almost exactly. By catering to those preferences, offering the content in video, audio, and physical text, you just eliminate the barrier of preference. You can increase your engaged leads by 3 or even 4 times for the same effort, just because you're meeting people where they're most comfortable consuming information.
And finally, step 4. Test what to name it. David Ogilvy's adage is so powerful here. When you have written your headline, you have spent 80 cents of your advertising dollar. If the headline doesn't grab attention, the rest of the ad, the rest of the lead magnet, it's just invisible.
And this is such a high-leverage activity that amateurs just ignore. The specific testing they did for the book's subheadline provides really deep insight into consumer psychology.
Right. They tested variations like get strangers to want to buy your stuff versus how to get strangers to want to buy your stuff.
And the latter phrase, with that small addition of how to 1. and it won overwhelmingly.
Let's really analyze that small difference because I think it speaks volumes about what motivates a buyer. Get strangers to want to buy your stuff.
Yeah.
It's a command. It focuses on the result, which sounds nice, but it doesn't offer a path.
Correct. Get X sounds like a pitch, but how to get X is a promise of a methodology. It's an explicit instruction manual. It implies a proven, repeatable path, not just a hope or a wish.
The buyer isn't just seeking the outcome, they're seeking the certainty of the system that produces the outcome.
Exactly. That tiny shift in language instantly drove massive engagement because it addressed the anxiety that everyone has around implementation. It's not just, what do I get? It's, how will you help me get it?
It's those micro-optimizations, isn't it? They compound into a $100 million lead machine. It's not about big, sweeping changes. It's about making thousands of tiny details perfect.
That's the game.
Okay, so we've established the gold standard for the lead magnet, that case study that generates engaged leads. Now, how do we get it out there? How do we distribute it at scale? This brings us to the mechanics of distribution. The core four.
The core four. I love this framework because it's the entire universe of advertising, just condensed into a simple, easy-to-understand model.
It's a 2x2 matrix, right?
It is. A simple 2x2 matrix that captures all possible advertising activities. You combine two audience types, warm and cold, with two communication methods, one-to-one and one-to-many.
So let's break that down.
Okay, first you have warm outreach. That's one-to-one communication with an audience that already knows you, your friends, your followers, past customers.
Then what's next?
Next is posting content. That's one-to-many communication, but still to your warm audience. Think social media posts, your email list.
Okay, so that's the warm side of the matrix. What about the cold side?
Then you have cold outreach, which is one-to-one communication with strangers. Cold email, cold calls, things like that. And finally, paid ads. That's one-to-many communication targeted at a completely cold audience. Facebook, Google, YouTube ads.
So if you're listening and you aren't currently generating enough leads, the fundamental truth is you are either not applying the core four, or you're just failing to apply enough skill or, maybe more importantly, enough volume to your current activities.
That's it. It has to be one of those things.
Let's start with the easiest entry point for everyone, the one that requires zero ad budget, warm outreach.
This is always the cheapest and easiest place to start because trust is already established. You're not starting from zero. It involves personal calls, texts, emails, or DMs.
But people often hesitate here, right? They don't want to sound aggressive or salesy to their friends or followers.
They don't, and that's why the structure is so essential. That's why they teach the ACA framework.
The ACA framework. So that stands for acknowledge, compliment, ask. Walk us through how that reframes the conversation.
It's designed to be genuine and guiding, not pushy. You start with acknowledge, just confirming something recent they did or said, hey, I saw your post about that trip. Then, the compliment. A genuine affirmation of a positive trait related to their life or work.
And it has to be genuine.
It has to be. Something like, I saw you working so hard to get back into shades, or you run such an organized business. If it's not sincere, people will see right through it.
And then the ask.
And finally, the ask is not asking them to buy. This is key. You're asking a leading question, and it's often disguised as a referral request. For a fitness coach, it might be, you mentioned wanting more time with the kids. Are you still having trouble balancing work and fitness, or do you happen to know anyone who is?
The math behind this is what makes it so powerful, because it's predictable. The benchmark data shows that about 1 in 5 contacts will actually engage with that kind of personalized approach.
And 1 in 5 of those engaged people will then take your free offer, your lead magnet.
That predictable chain, it translates to about 1 paying customer for every 100 warm reach outs.
Now that sounds like a lot of outreach, I know. But when you look at the commitment required versus the potential return, it becomes a phenomenal ROI generator.
Let's actually do the math on that high leverage scenario. Let's say you commit to 500 reach outs per week, which is a lot of manual effort, but it's certainly doable.
Oh, absolutely.
And you sell a modest $400 product. That simple math generates 5 new customers every single week,
Which translates to $104,000 a year.
just from applying a repeatable, zero-cost, personalized outreach process. It's like a financial safety net. It's the get-out-of-jail-free card that works regardless of your ad budget.
But, eventually you hit the cap of your warm audience, or you just need to scale faster than manual outreach will allow, and that's when you have to move to the efficiency game.
Paid ads.
Paid ads. Advertising one-to-many to a cold audience. And here, the goal is not mass appeal. It's about ruthlessly finding the needles in the haystack.
Efficiency is so key here. Most businesses I see just waste money on poor targeting. If your ad isn't profitable, it's very rarely because the creative is bad. It's because the wrong people are seeing it.
100%.
So how do we target ruthlessly at the $100 million level?
The targeting starts broad, but it narrows down almost instantly. You begin by leveraging the platform's intelligence. You upload your list of, say, 100 or 1,000 of your best, highest-paying customers, and you create a lookalike audience.
So the platform finds millions of people who share characteristics with your best buyers.
Right. But you don't stop there. That's where most people stop.
Okay, so this is where the depth comes in.
Right.
What are the key refinement layers you apply to a lookalike audience that really make the ad dollar count?
You apply specific exclusion lists and demographic refinements. So for the gym system, they would exclude anyone who recently attended a competitor's launch, or maybe anyone who lived outside the gym owner's service area. You filter by income, by age, by hyper-specific interests that indicate intent, not just fitness, but maybe fitness business podcasts.
By excluding everyone you know won't buy, you ensure the only people seeing the ad are the true needles, and that's how you maximize your return.
You're not paying to show your ad to people who can't or won't ever buy.
Okay, so once you've got the targeting dialed in, the ad itself has to perform efficiently. And this requires 3 essential components: callouts, value elements, and calls to action. Let's focus on the first 2.
Callouts are all about immediate attention. You have milliseconds to harness what's called the cocktail party effect.
I love that concept.
It's that phenomenon where, even in a noisy, crowded room, your ears instantly prick up when you hear your name or something highly relevant to you. If they don't notice the ad in the first, 5 seconds, the ad is a failure.
And these callouts can be verbal or nonverbal, which I find fascinating. What are some of the highest leverage verbal techniques they use?
The host speaker emphasizes 3 types. First, labels. Something like attention, small business owners in Texas. Second, yes questions, like, are you struggling to generate leads without sacrificing your family time?
So you get them nodding their head.
Exactly. Or third, if-then statements. If you have spent thousands on coaching and still aren't hitting 10,000 a month, then this is for you. All of these are designed to make the ideal customer stop scrolling and think, wait, they're talking to me?
And what about the nonverbal elements? They often use visual contrast or, interestingly, something called likeness.
Likeness is all about using visual cues so the right people self-identify instantly. If your target customer is a blue-collar worker, a plumber, for instance, you don't wear a suit in your ad.
Right, you'd look completely out of place.
You dress like a plumber. You're holding a wrench. You make the demographic connection immediate and authentic. Think about the enduring power of mascots like the Geico Gecko. They create an instant, memorable identification that just cuts through the noise.
So once you've secured their attention, we have to move to the second element, value. And this is where the $100 million lead machine leverages the what, who, when framework, combined with the underlying value equation drivers. The goal here is to show undeniable value from multiple angles.
The value equation is made up of drivers like dream outcome, likelihood of success, speed, and ease, and you contrast those with their opposites, like perceived effort and risk. An efficient ad has to address several of these at the same time.
And the what, who, when framework is how you organize the delivery of that value.
Exactly.
Let's break down the what. How do they use those value drivers in practice?
Okay, so if you are selling the lead system to gym owners, the what isn't just more members, it's how to get 30 new members in the next 30 days.
Okay, so that's speed.
Without spending countless hours on social media.
That's ease, or lack of effort.
Thereby increasing the likelihood of keeping your doors open.
Which is the dream outcome.
Right. You select 2 or 3 drivers that matter most to that specific audience, and you just hyper-focus on demonstrating them clearly.
And then the who. This is where the psychological leverage really comes in. You don't just focus on the customer, you show how the product improves their status in the eyes of others.
Exactly. This taps into really deep-seated human motivators. If the gym owner succeeds, their spouse notices the reduction in stress. Or maybe the new car at the golf course catches the eye of their rival gym owner down the street.
So you're positioning the success through the eyes of the spouse, the rival, and the boss. Or in this case, maybe an investor or a banker.
Yes. You ask the question, if the customer gets this value, who else in their life benefits or feels envious? That added layer of social validation makes the product so much more desirable.
I think the most complex part of this for me is the when. How do you layer the consequences and the benefits across time?
You show the consequences of inaction across a timeline, past, present, and future. So for a fitness product, an ad might contrast the past.
Right.
The embarrassment of not being able to keep up with your kids on vacation. The present, the current joint pain and self-doubt. And then the future, the doctor saying you might not be able to walk your daughter down the aisle one day.
That's powerful.
It is. You contrast this potential nightmare with the immediate positive action offered by the product right now. When you successfully combine the what, the value drivers, the who, the multiple perspectives, and the when, the timeline, you create irresistible, efficient ad copy that stops the scroll and initiates the sale.
So it's not about being clever, it's about being exhaustive. It's about answering the prospect's needs and their anxieties before they can even consciously articulate them.
That is the definition of a finely tuned machine.
Okay, once you master those core 4 activities, doing the advertising yourself, you inevitably hit a plateau. You can only physically send so many warm reach outs or create so much content in a day.
You become the bottleneck.
Exactly. The key to crossing that $100 million mark is realizing that you are the bottleneck. You have to shift from doing the advertising to getting lead getters to do it for you.
And this requires leveraging 4 types of external partners. Your customers, who become referrers, employees, agencies, and affiliates.
This is that critical transition from linear growth, which is constrained by your own hours, to exponential growth, which is constrained only by your ability to manage leverage.
That's the leap. And let's start with the cheapest and most powerful one, customer referrals, word of mouth.
The host speaker had this incredible accidental discovery related to referrals during the gym launch phase. What happened when Facebook shut off their ad accounts for 2 weeks?
It was a moment of total panic and then total clarity. When the paid tap was shut off, sales should have just dried up completely.
Of course.
Yet they still closed 15 sales that week and 21 the week before that. That translated to roughly $500,000 a week in sales from word of mouth alone.
That's unbelievable.
The realization was stunning. The product itself was such an effective advertiser that a massive, profitable business was just running underneath the paid strategy, completely independent of it.
So that accidental discovery highlighted that the best advertising is a customer whose results are so good, they are just compelled to share it. To capture this intentionally, they focused on the 6 ways to build goodwill. And this often means maximizing the customer experience to the point where they feel they have to share. A critical example here is focusing on decreasing time delay.
Time delay is a massive constraint in building goodwill. Let's define the metric they used. LTGP, lifetime gross profit. This is how much revenue you expect to generate from a customer over the entire duration of your relationship with them.
Okay.
The gym launch team found that if they could get the gym owner to run their ads and make their very first sale within the first 7 days of engagement, the resulting LTGP tripled.
Tripled. Why does getting results just 3 days faster have such a massive impact on the customer's lifetime value to the business?
Because it instantly validates their purchase, and it shifts the customer's mindset from skepticism to advocacy. By focusing their entire onboarding system on reducing that time delay, on getting customers their first win as quickly as possible, they maximized goodwill.
And turn the customer into a raving fan who naturally refers other people.
Exactly. This leads directly to the core thought experiment. If you lost all but one of your customers, and your company's survival depended entirely on that single customer referring others, how would you treat them?
Wow.
That is the required level of value provision for exponential referral growth.
Next, let's talk about agencies, but not in the standard way of just, outsourcing work. The strategic $100 million approach is using agencies primarily as an education system.
This is so counterintuitive to how most people think about agencies. When the host speaker hit roadblocks with complex Facebook ad features like advanced retargeting and pixel implementation, he was scared of wasting thousands on trial and error.
And he couldn't afford a full-time, expensive agency retainer.
Right, so he made this really audacious offer. He asked an agency owner if he could just pay him to show him the entire process, step by step.
And the agency owner threw out a massive discouraging rate to try and get rid of him.
$750 an hour.
But he took it.
He did. The host speaker paid $6,000 for 8 hours of consultation. But that was arguably the most profitable $6,000 he ever spent.
Because he learned how to run sophisticated paid ads like a seasoned professional.
He received 8 hours of uninterrupted, focused instruction from a master practitioner. And that skill set allowed the internal team to manage the millions in ad spend that followed. He bought the skill, not the service.
So the modern strategy for anyone listening is to be really strategic when you're hiring an agency.
Yes, you hire the agency for, say, a 6-month contract, but you are completely upfront about your goal. You state that the goal is to learn their process, and you explicitly agree to pay extra for detailed, step-by-step breakdowns, recorded calls, and documentation, all while you're simultaneously training an internal employee.
So the moment your trained internal team beats the agency's results.
You switch the agency to a lower-cost advisory consulting arrangement. You leverage their temporary expertise to gain a permanent, internal, high-value skill set.
Finally, the ultimate leverage tool, affiliates. This is the strategy they use to build prestige labs, generating over $75 million in revenue with more than 5,000 affiliates. This is about building a massive, decentralized sales army.
The initial phase here is the launch strategy. They use the whisper, tease, shout method. You leverage the affiliates, in this case, the gym owners, to advertise your offer before it even launches to their warm audience through content and outreach.
So you're building a massive group of engaged leads who are excited and primed to buy on day one.
A huge pre-warmed audience. But the real scale, the reason this works for the long term, is the integration strategy.
You have to make your product enhance the affiliate's core offer so significantly that they're motivated to keep advertising for you. They essentially become your unpaid sales force.
Let's analyze that symbiotic loop they used in the gym and supplement model. The host speaker's team provided a structured system for the gym affiliates to give away a free nutrition consult to every new member.
And that consult acts as a premium lead magnet for the gym owner.
Exactly. From the gym owner's perspective, this is genius. The free consult makes their gym membership package more valuable, so they can charge more or attract more members. It enhances their core business, and they pay nothing for the consult infrastructure.
And for the host speakers team, they get a high-quality, pre-qualified, warm lead in a one-on-one consultation setting. They didn't have to pay for the initial traffic acquisition at all.
Not a dime. And during that consultation, they can then ethically upsell their core offer, the premium supplements, at margins ranging from $50 to $1,000 per transaction.
It's a seamless integration. It's low cost for the gym owner and highly profitable for the host speaker.
And when you have 4,000 gyms selling to 14 new customers per month each, well, that creates millions in monthly revenue simply through leverage.
That is the highest form of strategic marketing. You're being compensated massively for the value you provide, not just to the end customer, but to the entire affiliate ecosystem.
Mass scale.
So we've covered the tactics and the leverage, but that engine only runs if the operator has the right mindset. The constant pursuit of scale is captured in the more, better, new framework for continuous lead flow.
This framework is so necessary because most businesses, they hit a plateau and then they succumb to the size of the pie fallacy.
What's that?
They assume the small slice of the market they're currently advertising to is the entire available universe of customers. So this leads them to quit trying to scale when costs rise or the effort increases. But the reality is that the market is always vastly bigger than you think.
The first non-negotiable step in that framework is more. You have to maximize volume until your current system literally breaks. What kind of volume are we talking about here?
We're talking about massive, sustained effort. It's embodied by the rule of 100. 100 primary advertising actions every single day for 100 days straight.
100 actions a day for 100 days.
Whether those actions are ad tests or cold outreach or content posts, volume is the cure for almost every sales problem. If you double your inputs, even with zero improvement in efficiency, you are mathematically guaranteed to get more engaged leads.
I remember that anecdote about the mentor who ran a chain of tanning salons. It's a perfect illustration of this commitment to volume.
It is. When the host speaker complained that his 300 flyers yielded no results, the mentor just laughed at him and explained that he tests new campaigns with 5,000 flyers.
Wow. From 300 to 5,000.
You need enough volume to generate statistically significant data and actually prove if your system is a winner, not just to hope for results. You have to commit to doing what is required to gather the data, not just what feels comfortable.
So once that volume causes the system to buckle, maybe your cost to acquire a customer, your kick gets too high, then you move to better.
Then and only then. And this requires identifying your constraints, which are just the biggest drop-off points in your process.
Finding the constraint means scientific testing.
Absolutely. And the rule is absolute.
Yeah.
1 split test per platform every Monday. You only change one variable at a time so you know precisely what caused the improvement or the failure.
If you change the headline and the image at the same time, you've learned nothing.
You learn nothing.
Yeah.
You iterate constantly on the headline, the call-out, the value, or the targeting until the improvement yields diminishing returns.
And only once more and better have plateaued do you finally move to new.
Right. New means introducing new placements on your existing platforms, or testing new platforms entirely, shifting from Facebook to TikTok, for example, or adding a new Core 4 activity. This is about challenging that size of the pie fallacy and tapping into new, vast pools of attention.
Don't chase the shiny new object until you have completely exhausted the current system through volume and optimization.
That's the discipline.
The mindset required to sustain this level of effort, it demands a commitment beyond just punching a clock. This is where the concept of open-to-goal commitment comes into play, a method they adopted from successful sales managers.
It's the difference between doing your best and doing what is required. You don't commit to working 8 hours. You commit to achieving a specific outcome.
Like 5 new sales.
Or launching 1 new test. Or reaching out to 100 people, regardless of how long it takes. This means if you hit your 5 sales by noon, you might stop for the day. But if you haven't hit the goal by midnight, you keep working.
That relentless focus on outcome over activity is what transforms effort into results.
And this mindset, it permeates the entire roadmap to 100 million plus. It's not about skipping steps. It's about applying skill at increasing levels of leverage. It starts with simple level 1 warm outreach.
And it progresses through scaling personal capacity with ads, then leveraging employees and consistent referrals.
And finally, hiring battle-hardened executives at level 6. It's a messy, multi-year process.
And the ultimate psychological trick to enduring that whole process is the fable of the many-sided die.
I love this analogy. It perfectly reframes what failure actually is.
How does it work?
Okay, so if you are trying to roll a 6 and you have a 20-sided die, the odds are against you on any single roll. But success isn't about the number of sides on the die. It's about the number of rolls you take.
Okay.
Every time you roll and you hit red of failure, you learn something. You pick up the die and you roll again. If you keep rolling, eventually you hit the green side of success. And critically, when you do hit green, one of your red failure sides often turns green, making future success easier and more likely.
The outcome is predetermined as long as you keep rolling.
Provided you adhere to the final promise of the machine. You cannot lose if you do not quit.
We have covered a colossal amount of material today, extracting the high-leverage tactics that fueled that move from $150,000 in debt to a $46.2 million exit. We drilled down on replacing the time-wasting webinar with the instant value case study, leveraging the efficiency of the Core 4, especially that what, who, when framework in paid ads, and achieving true scale by using lead getters like agencies for skill acquisition and affiliates for that exponential symbiotic growth.
The foundational takeaway, I think, remains the necessity of sustained volume. The more, combined with consistent scientific improvement, the better, applied relentlessly to the point of constraint. This is the only reliable path to breaking through those revenue plateaus and realizing the true, massive scale of the market that you operate in.
So, we want to leave you with a challenge, a genuine point of reflection. Look closely at your current lead generation process. What is your single biggest constraint right now? Where is the largest drop-off in conversion?
Is it the initial attention grab, the engagement with your lead magnet, the actual sales presentation?
Commit this week to applying the more, better, new framework to that single constraint. Perhaps you need to do 10 times the volume of your outreach, or maybe you need to run a tightly controlled scientific split test to make that constraint better.
And finally, reflect on the critical distinction between advertising problems and sales problems. This clarity is what determines where you allocate your effort and your capital. Ask yourself this single, powerful question.
Do my engaged leads, the ones who consume my free material, do they have the problem I solve, and do they have the money to spend?
If the answer to that is unequivocally yes, but they still aren't buying, you don't have an advertising problem. You do not need to fire your ad team or change your targeting.
If the leads are good, you need to fix your offer or your sales process. If the leads are bad, then you fix the advertising. Knowing which one you have determines the entire future direction of your business. Get rolling on that die. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.